All right, I want to welcome everybody to our YouTube live on Wednesday. We haven't done live in a while, so we're doing some live. Had a question came up today. Will sciatica really go away? Does it really go away? Some people have sciatica and they have lived with it for years and years and years and years. And I have for years. I had numbness in my legs, I had achiness in my legs, I had weakness in my legs, and every once in a while I had shooting pain in my legs. Everybody's sciatica is a little bit different, but I definitely had a lot of neurological problems in my legs. And mine went away. And we do what we do because of what happened to me. So the question of does sciatica go away? The answer is yes. Your sciatica will go away if you treat the cause. The key is to treat the cause. Again, this is me right here. So we are the Illinois Back Institute, and we treat serious back problems. We treat probably the most complicated back problems through a non-surgical technique compared to anybody. And it is a challenge, but we get it better. We get it better in ways that nobody else ever did because we treat the cause. We've been doing this 25 years. We've developed a process, a protocol, and a procedure that took 25 years to develop. And it continues to get better every day. We get the best possible outcomes. And it's all a result of something that happened to me. 26,000 patients we've treated, 26,126, and it's more every day. 500,000 treatments in 25 years, that's a lot. And we've done 8 scientific studies, some have been published. There's a major one right now in a major medical journal that's in review that is a massive, massive, massive study that could potentially change everything. We know what we can do, but science is now proving it. So that's who we are and what we do. These videos are for educational purposes. This is not a diagnosis, nor is this a treatment. If you have a back problem that's not getting better and you don't know what's wrong, you need to see a doctor. Sometimes there's problems in there that are not related to the disc or the muscles or the nerves. They could be an infection, there could be cancer, there could be a lot of things going on in there, so you got to check that out. If you have pain, it's not going away. You need to see a doctor. I had back problems, and I had severe back problems as a result of an injury. A lot of people have heard this story, but I jumped off a cliff. Not a real bright idea. I was jumping into water, so there was water there, but 80 feet from the top of the cliff, boom, into the water, and I smashed my disc. And I suffered. I suffered when it happened, and I was too young and naive to try to solve it, and then I suffered for 10 years after that. But then I found a way out. And I found a way out and I got better. And then we started using my process that I got out with on everybody and they got better. And we've tweaked it. We've developed it. We've tweaked it. We tweak it every single week to make it better. Okay, so the treatment you get today is not the same treatment you got a year ago, nor is it the same treatment you got 2 years ago. Because every day it gets a little bit better. We have a process where we analyze all the data and we make it better. So I had a herniated disc, a bulging disc, a degenerative disc, stenosis, and sciatica. All the major components that cause sciatica, I had them. And I also had modic end plate changes. So I had changes to the end plate of my vertebra. I had a serious, serious, serious problem. Okay? So the key to solving sciatica and eliminating it so it goes away and doesn't come back is treating the cause. What causes sciatica? Well, we know sciatica is a pinched nerve. What's pinching the nerve? If you identify what's pinching it and you fix the pinch, it goes away. It's that simple, although it's complicated. It's a simple to understand, but to solve the problem, it's not always very easy. So you've seen this before. It looks like this. 24 vertebrae between the head and the hips. The vertebrae are the bones. In between each bone there is a disc. The disc allows for motion. Disc also acts like a shock absorber. Also, more importantly, what the disc does is the disc allows for enough room for a nerve to exit off of the spinal cord through an opening we call the foramen. So there's an opening here where the nerve comes out, where the nerve very often can be pinched, but it exits through an opening called the foramen. There's a nerve between each vertebrae. Spinal cord runs down through the inside, brain's up here, off the brain is the brainstem. Spinal cord runs down through the inside. The spine is designed to protect the spinal cord. That's why we have a spine. It protects the spinal cord, and you need these nerves to exit through this foramen. The space of the foramen is made up of the vertebrae above and below, and more importantly, the disc. So right here is where the nerve comes out. That's called the foramen. And it's in this area that the nerve gets pinched, and it gets pinched it's from the disc. There's different reasons, but it's always the disc related in some way, shape, or form. All disc breakdown will lead to irritation to the nerves eventually. Nerves in the neck go into the arms, nerves in the low back go down the legs. If you've ever had a pinch nerve in your low back, you get that pain that goes down your low back. Okay, it starts here, sometimes it goes into the hip, sometimes it goes down the leg, sometimes it goes all the way down into the foot. Okay, it's the nerve that gets pinched as it exits through the foramen. Why does it get pinched? It gets pinched because the disc is like a jelly donut, and the jelly very often will pinch the nerve because it can move around. Excuse me. So one vertebrae on top of the other with the disc in between. The outer portion of the disc, there's a thick material. We call that the annulus. It's cartilage. You want healthy cartilage. When the cartilage gets weak, that's when you start to have a problem. Inside the disc, there's a jelly-like substance. We call that the nucleus. If the nucleus dries out, you're going to have a problem. It's like having a flat tire. When the nucleus dries out, it's like letting the air out of your tire. And what happens is the vertebrae get closer together. The nucleus gives stability to the disc the same way air gives stability to your tire. Proper amount of air in the tire is good. Tire runs out of air, you're having a problem. So the nucleus is designed to distribute stresses evenly in all directions on the annulus. What can happen sometimes is the angle of the load can change, or through repetitive bending, repetitive twisting, or picking up boxes. We had somebody recently come in for treatment and she was moving her stuff, and when she picked up a box and boom, herniated the disc. Okay? So bending, lifting, twisting over time will start to cause a problem with the disc. And what it does is it causes a weakness in the outer portion of the annulus. And this weakness in the outer portion of the annulus will allow for the nucleus to push out. Again, this is about the cause. What is the cause of sciatica? Well, as that nucleus pushes out, what happens is it'll start to push into the space where that nerve exits. That's called a bulging disc. As it starts to bulge, bulging disc can start to aggravate that nerve. Kind of looks like this. Pushes out a little bit here. As it pushes out, it's going to start to bulge and cause a pinching of the nerve. Also, what happens is you can develop a little tear in the annulus. That tear allows for the nucleus to push out further. And when it pushes out further, you develop what's called a prolapse disc or a herniated disc. The herniated disc will push into the space. Again, this is about the cause. What's the cause of sciatica? Sciatica is a pinched nerve. What's pinching it? Bulging disc, herniated disc. What can happen sometimes is you can get a tear all the way through where the nucleus comes out. That's called an extrusion. That will also pinch the nerve, and sometimes what happens is the nucleus pushes all the way out and then breaks off and starts moving around. That's called sequestration. These are serious problems. These are all herniated discs, okay, and they can go away. You can have these problems, and they can go away if you do the right thing. So you treat the cause, but there's a very specific way to treat the cause. The degenerated disc, a lot like the air on your tire. When you let the air out of the tire, the vertebrae get closer together, dries out the nucleus, the space physically gets smaller. As that space gets smaller, not only because the disc is pushing in there, but also because the opening is physically getting smaller. If it should be like this, and over time it starts to get closer together, as it gets closer together, those vertebrae will start to aggravate that nerve. That's the cause. So the cause of the sciatica is the bulging disc, the herniated disc, the degenerated disc, okay, all causing a smaller space called stenosis. The opening is getting smaller. It's stenosing. Stenosis is a narrowing of the opening. It takes time, over time. So degenerated disc, vertebrae closer together, pinching the nerve goes down your leg, sciatica. Herniated disc pushing out, pinching the nerve, causing sciatica. Bulging disc, not a very good picture, but this is a bulging disc, making the space smaller. There's no nerve in there, but the nerve would be in there, and it's being pinched. Okay, that's the bulging disc. Stenosis, the space is getting smaller, both in the canal and in the area of the foramen. You can have foraminal stenosis and you can have canal stenosis. They're all associated with the breakdown of the disc. When the disc is breakdown, the opening physically gets smaller. So we treat the cause. We treat the bulging, we treat the herniated, we treat the degenerated disc. Okay? When you eliminate the cause, the sciatica will go away. A lot of people think, oh, it's just going to go away on its own. Your doctor may tell you, oh, it's going to go away on its own, just wait it out. Okay? If you don't treat the cause, very often it won't go away. There's more surgeries for sciatica than any other back problem because there's irritation to the nerve. Typically, the goal of surgery is to free up the space. They'll do a laminectomy. They'll open up the bone where the nerve is. They'll cut that bone out of there, free up the nerve. Or what they'll do sometimes, they'll open it up and put some rods in there and they'll fuse it all together. Or sometimes they'll use cadaver bone. It's a big thing. Okay? And the goal is to free up the space and make it bigger. And that frees up the nerve. The problem is it doesn't solve the problem. You need to treat the cause. We treat the cause. Herniated disc, pushing into the spinal canal, looks like this. Pinching the nerve. Pinching the nerve that goes down the leg. Patient went through the program. At the end of the program, herniated disc gone. We decompress the disc. We take pressure off, and then we have you do exercises. Everybody says, what does it look like? You wear a harness, and we take pressure off. It does not hurt. It takes time. Sometimes takes 3 months. Sometimes takes a little longer. We have patients that fly in. We have a lot of patients that fly in from around the country, around the world, quite frankly, and they're here 4 to 5 weeks. We get it better in 4 to 5 weeks, but you got to put a lot of time into it. And what we know is the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And that's a good rule for life. The more you put in, the more you get out. Part of why we do what we do is because I wanted to find a way out. I suffered, and I didn't give up. And I kept at it. I didn't quit. I didn't quit. I didn't quit. And eventually we found a way out. Now we've perfected this through both the use of MRIs. We know exactly, it's kind of a medical breakthrough, we've identified using MRIs exactly how to treat the cause. It's a very specific type of MRI that we've developed where we can exactly identify the cause and exactly how to treat it. So these will get better. Okay? Massive herniated disc. Massive herniated disc pinching the nerve. Okay? After the program got better, same thing. Okay? This one was part of our original study where we actually identified the herniated discs will go away. We didn't know they would go away until 2007. We had no idea they went away. We discovered in 2007 they went away, and this is one of the first patients right here. Okay? The herniated discs and bulging discs will go away. We have the ability to solve the problem in the disc. And the patients get better. Again, we have 8 separate studies. Several have been published. There's a major one right now with 1,200 cases of patients that met the criteria for surgery. They were candidates for surgery and they went through our program and they got better. Okay? We did a study in 2016 where we analyzed 70 patients that had sciatica from a disc. They had it for over 2 years. Their back pain was a 7.5 and their Oswestry Disability Index was a 46. They were candidates for surgery. They went through our program. We also compared that to patients that went through traditional physical therapy. So they went through our program and they went through physical therapy, and the results were ours was 10 times better. Okay, the results, the outcome of the therapy was 10 times better. Why was it 10 times better? Because we treat the cause. Physical therapy is good for treating some of the inflammation. Physical therapy is very good for making the muscle stronger, but you need to treat the disc when you have sciatica. If you treat the disc, if you have sciatica, the sciatica will go away, but you need to treat the disc. If you don't treat the disc, the problem won't go away. That was the study that we have well here. So this study was done in 2016, 70 patients. Those 70 patients 55 had herniated discs, 68 had degenerated discs, 52 had bulging discs, all 70 had sciatica. What causes sciatica? The disc causes sciatica, but stenosis also causes sciatica. 66 of them had sciatica, stenosis. Well, hang in there. So all the major problems, we treated them and they got better. Now, uniquely, these patients, before they came to see us, 45 had seen chiropractors, didn't get better. 56 had seen physical therapists, didn't get better. 28 had done injections, didn't get better. Narcotics, 21 were taking narcotics, didn't get better. Matter of fact, this is a whole separate story. This one right here, this will lead to serious problems. You don't want to take narcotics. It doesn't solve your problem. It doesn't solve the problem at all. If you go to a doctor and he gives you narcotics and he's not solving the problem with your disc, you run the risk of having a lifetime of back pain. It's serious problem. Okay? Those 70, they got better. We compared ours to physical therapy, it was 10 times better. We did a study with 1,200 patients. First one was 70. Second one was 1,200 patients that were candidates for surgery. They had disc problems and they had sciatica. They had serious pain. The average pain was an 8.5, 8.6, which is more than 8.5. Okay, the average disability was 45.7, means they were very disabled. That's a percentage of disability, and they had the pain for 7.5 years, pain of months, 89 months. Okay, they went through our program and they got better. At the end, their pain was less than a 1, and their disability was less than 10. Okay, anything 12 and under is considered asymptomatic. Period. 0. Boom. Okay, they went through our program. Again, 1,200 patients. 907 had sciatica. It wasn't just a handful of people. 907 of the 1,200 in this case, in this study. 885 had degenerated discs, 921 bulging discs, 516 herniated discs. Okay, it's not 5, it's 516. 312 had failed surgery before they came to see us. They had done surgery and didn't get better. So we have the ability to solve the problem in the disc. Sciatica will go away if you treat the cause. We have the ability, okay? Why do we do this? We do this so you know you have options. We have a way to get you out of pain. We have a pathway that we've developed over 25 years, and it's a result of something that happened to me. I lived it. I lived it for 10 years. I had vacations. I got stuck in bed in Florida. Couldn't get out. Okay, it's pretty miserable when you can't get out of bed and you're on vacation. It sort of defeats the whole purpose of having a vacation. I lived it. I found a way out. I got better. We've perfected it, and we've scaled it. So we know it's repeatable. Patients get better. If you like what you hear, I want you to like our page. I want you to subscribe to our page, and I want you to ask me questions. We get a lot of questions. Actually, we get great questions on YouTube. Absolutely the best questions. So if you have any questions, submit it to me. Now, we do have patients that fly in from around the world, so we're putting together a page where you can figure out how to do that if you want to do that. It's not hard. There's a hotel right near the clinic, and they'll drive you back and forth, and we have all that worked out. Okay, so if you're suffering and you don't want to suffer any longer, you come see us. So like our page, subscribe, and anything else. And if you want to call, if you live in the United States, I don't know if this number works out of the United States, but the number is 844-577-7329. Call that number, and we'll be able to help you schedule an appointment. Again, remember, if you have sciatica, it's a problem in the disc. Give us a call. Hope to see you soon. You do not have to live with pain. Oh boy. I can do this.